property, section 5. This is your, in the marine is one of those insurance terms that just kind of never changed. It's always been referred to as in the marine. It doesn't have anything to do with boats. You could insure a boat under it, but we're not necessarily talking about boats here. It's your portable equipment or outdoor equipment. The voting machines, the tabulators, the automark, those are covered under this section. Fences, signs, things that you might have at the cemetery fall under this section.
A lot of the office equipment that's I would say in our residence and stuff that we have in case of the fire.
The office as far as
Yeah.
desks, files.
Like recording equipment for lawns and
We have computers at our homes.
Okay. Computer, that's the next section. Computers, we have, it's electronic data processing we're identifying. We have a flat 100,000, that's just the limit in the policy. And that provides coverage for any township-owned electronics, whether they're here, in your home, what have you. If you did have township-owned other properties, say file cabinets, things like that, that would just fall under this, the contents limit here. Main thing we're concerned about is as long as it's owned by the township. And that's a good point, because we do provide coverage in your homes. In addition to property coverage in your homes, the liability extends to your homes as well. If you're conducting township business at home, whether you're collecting taxes or something like that, someone slips and falls at your house, this liability policy is protecting you. The boiler and machinery coverage, also referred to as equipment breakdown. The boiler machinery is one of those coverages that we add to fill in holes that are provided in the property section. You have a water heater, the water heater explodes, it's not covered under your property section, it's covered under the boiler machinery. So we include that in all our property coverages, we add the boiler machinery on. In addition to that coverage, the equipment breakdown, if you have a sudden unexpected breakdown in your heating, air conditioning equipment, that is provided, coverage for that is provided under the boiler machinery as well.
Now, is this an area where it's just, it's kind of sad or what? I mean, it looks to me like these limits are real high for what we have. At 250,000, I mean.
Yeah, the 250,000 is actually the minimum we write on the boiler, and it goes from 250 to 500, 750, up to $1 million or beyond. We match the boiler up to your, we get close to your property without being excessive. Because like I said, if you had a water heater explode and it destroys part of the building here, this coverage is what's going to be rebuilding here. This location. But the 250 is the minimum we charge, or not charge, 250 is the minimum limit we have for that. The cost of the boiler, that is right around $300, I want to say, for the boiler. Again, it's different on each account, but it's between 250 and 300.
What's this area cost us, do you know?
That's what I was just saying. At the most, it'd be 300, probably between 250 and 300 for the boiler coverage.
So do any of these cover, like at our cemetery, we had a lot of wind, ice damage from the trees at the storm?
Right.
Do any of these cover like cleanup from that?
There is cleanup, and actually, Phyllis had, I haven't seen it yet, she sent it out last Friday, but the pictures from this damage of the storm, there is coverage in the policy for that. There's a limit to it, it's about $1,200 is what we'll pay for cleanup. If there's things, say you have a tree that falls down on an actual structure, we insure, say, a storage building and things like that, there's more coverage because we have to replace that structure and do the cleanup. But there is coverage, and she did send me some pictures, so we're investigating that. And then the last item on that page is valuable papers and records. We have $100,000 of coverage there. That pays for the labor, if we had our records destroyed, stolen, computer crash, the labor to replace that information, re-input it, or do the research to try and get that information back. On page 3, item 9, broad form crime coverage. This is for cash that you have on hand year-round. It's $10,000, and then peak season, which would be tax season, that limit goes up to $25,000. And again, that's tax or cash that you have on hand. We include under that section mysterious disappearance. We've had claims before where treasurer was going to make a deposit, they put the deposit bag on top of the car, got the bank to realize they left it on top of the car. They found the deposit bag, but so okay, like that. But that would fall under this section. The public officials and employee bonds. This you can see the positions that we have and the limits for each position. This section provides coverage for an internal embezzlement or scenario where someone was to abscond with township funds. There's the positions, and then the blanket employee would be any other employee that would have access to funds.
So is the constable, that's just a constant, I mean, that's just a template that you use since we don't have a constable?
Yes, yeah. To my knowledge, there's 2 constables in Michigan, and that's why we still have a constable on here is something that, these run with the election years, so every 4 years we can change them. And I've talked to the head of our underwriting department to say, maybe we should add constables separately, because the majority of townships don't have a constable. But if we removed it right now, it wouldn't change anything in the policy. Workers' compensation. This is a separate coverage through accident fund. We're identifying it here because MCM is the agent on it, but the workers' compensation premium is not part of this package, this invoice. So just want to point that out. That is billed separately directly from accident funds, and that is based on your payrolls. Work comp is tied to, if payrolls go up, the work comp goes up. They go down, premium of work comp goes down. Page 4, item 12, the accidental death and dismemberment. This is a coverage that's on the board members. There is the top 3 items, the death, impairment, income protection, are all on-duty benefits, doing something on behalf of the township. And then the 24-hour coverage does not have to be related to township business for that to apply. You could be at home, on vacation, whatever, as long as there's an accidental death, or if there's a dismemberment, the benefit would apply. Dismemberment would be up to the $50,000 based on what happens if you lose, pinky, it's going to be less than if you lose an arm. So the seatbelt benefit, if you have your seatbelt on, that additional $5 would be paid in addition to the death benefit. And again, the benefits above, death, impairment, income, are all related to you doing something on behalf of the township. Whether it's ear, changing light bulb, off chair, break your neck, or if you're traveling, you go into an MTA conference, whatever. Any questions on that part? And then page 5, this is our property schedule. This just identifies what those numbers, where they're coming from, in a little more detail than what we have. These are the building limits there, and then the contents. And inland marine, we just have a flat 25,000.
guess, so you're gonna have them do this assessment, and then we can kind of see where we're at with these coverages, and then if you come, will you have a breakdown of the costs?
Yeah, I will have her break that down for me.
The other thing that I'd ask you was about this, the issue with the conflict and then coverage, or maybe denied coverage because of it, and did you get anywhere with that when we had talked 2 months ago?
Yeah, as far as, because I talked to our attorneys, and as far as the coverage, basically, the initial question was, is there a conflict of interest? Our claims department, our attorneys basically said if you think there's a conflict, there probably is, and so if you want to abstain from voting, that's probably a good idea. They also, of course, recommended if you have an attorney, contact the attorney, get the opinion of the attorney, and, go with that. But I mean, just in general terms, without getting too much detail, basically, that was her opinion. If there is even a thought that there might be a conflict, then it probably would be a good idea to abstain from voting because it possibly is a conflict. As far as coverage goes, her opinion was that your actions, if you vote or not, wouldn't do anything to negate coverage. The coverage is in place. The lawsuit is more what's identifying where the coverage is, whether it falls under the takings or if it's to the full policy limits. Not so much the action prior to. I mean, that was their opinion, that the lawsuit is what's going to identify how the coverage plays out. If you did vote, and we probably shouldn't have voted, it doesn't negate coverage, it just maybe gives us less of a defense because we made a mistake. But it doesn't exclude coverage if we voted, probably the recommendation would have been to not. But that was the response from the attorneys. And as far as coverage-wise, I think that was another question. Who's covered under the policy? The policy holder is the township. The township owns the policy. But in addition to the township being covered, we identified specific additional insureds in the policy, which the additional insureds are, in essence, carry the same coverage as the policy holder. We identified the board. Everybody on the board is covered as an additional insured. Any appointed or elected officials would be additional insureds. Any subcommittees or boards that you put together that are acting on behalf of the township would be covered under the policy and liability. Any employees, and then we also include volunteers under the policy. So as long as those people are acting on behalf of the township, if you put together a subcommittee and say, go research this or do whatever, or, put this program together for us, that they would be covered, as long as we can go back to the township and say, yep, that's a committee we put together, that's for our benefit, they are covered in the policy.
We've had a couple times in the past, we had a volunteer day over at the cemetery, clean up or clean stones, would everybody be, because we have called it.
Right.
As a volunteer.
Yep. And it's a good example as far as the volunteer cleanup day. Liability-wise, those volunteers fall into this policy because it's something that the board has said we want to have some volunteers. It's an approved activity of the board to go do this cleanup. Liability-wise, they're covered. If they're out there, they cut some limbs off a tree, it falls on somebody's car, smashes their windshield. The liability, the general liability, is going to take care of it because we damaged someone else's property. What's not covered with volunteers is themselves. If a volunteer gets injured, we're not paying them anything,